So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Good afternoon. Trying to clear this wreck up in Williamson County. Still some rubbernecking as you drive by 65 southbound at Concord Road. Through that stretch of Brentwood there, it's got traffic slow, mostly rubbernecking delays. It's heavy now on 65 northbound as you work your way up into the Goodlettsville area, just trying to get past Rivergate Parkway. Plenty of radar. Be careful, I-40 out through the Mount Juliet area. STR Towing and Recovery says give them a call here in Middle Tennessee if you need their help 24/7. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now you can watch some of your favorite radio shows. Try Big G TV. Subscribe for free on YouTube at News Radio WGNS and WGNS Radio on Facebook and X. Local content that matters to Rutherford County. Rutherford weather.
Lows level off around 17 tonight under clear skies. A mix of clouds and sun tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 51. I'm WGNS meteorologist Derek Height. Right now, 33.
We do it over here, Sir Pizza.
You can order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online, sirpizzatn.com. Carry out and delivery for dinner tonight at sirpizzatn.com.
We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com.
From the first pitch to the final buzzer, this is where the conversation starts. All sports talk on WGNS and Big G TV, covering the Preps, MTSU, news from Tennessee and nationwide. Now, here's All Sports Talk on the Good Neighbor Network.
And welcome into All Sports Talk for this Monday afternoon, as we will be talking with a guest for the first two segments of the show. My guest is Lou Vickery. He is living in Murfreesboro now, but you're a native of our neighboring state, Alabama, I understand.
That's correct. I was born and raised in a little town called Atmore, Alabama, which is right on the Florida-Alabama line. You know, I always kid if you start in the north part at Ardmore and you end in the south at Atmore, so you can take 65 all the way through.
So that's not to be confused with Ardmore.
Ardmore is Atmore. That's correct.
And close to the Florida line in the very southern portion of the state, I guess.
Yeah. In fact, you could from where I grew up, you could hit a golf ball into Florida.
Okay, you've had a varied and illustrious career, which continues to this day. And I was wondering, and I really didn't ask you this before, but how'd you wind up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee?
Well, there's a lovely lady sitting in with us. She had everything to do with that, I can assure you. But Janie Jordan is a wonderful person. I like to kid everyone about being my significant other, but we've known each other over 20 years, and she lost her husband, DJ Jordan, I guess, 3 years ago. And so I called her up and we started talking a couple years ago, and here I am.
Okay, so you're settled in one of the growing cities in our state, which seems to get bigger every week that we get out there in the traffic, doesn't it?
Let me share a thought about that, Dick. I came here to officiate a basketball game probably 35, 40 years ago. And guess what? I thought it was a little, like a cow town at that time. But it's unbelievable how the difference in it when I first came here and it is now.
Yeah. So let's go back to high school. And you were a great athlete in high school.
Well, I played all three sports and made all-state in all three sports, interesting enough. When I was a junior, we won the state football championship and had a great football team. I set the school record for rushing that year, and it still holds, 1,752 yards or so. And
wow.
then obviously baseball was my sport and did real well in baseball, and then signed with the St. Louis Cardinals right out of high school. So
and basketball too?
Well, actually, basketball, let me tell you, I was a shooter. I was a gunner, if you if you know what I mean. I scored 43 points in one game, and he came back and shot just as many shots. The next game scored 9. So that'd give you an indication of how it goes.
Yeah. So as a former football player, you have moved into the football hotbed of Tennessee.
Yes.
Because we've got a team playing for the state championship on this coming Saturday night, and had 2 in the semifinal. Had 2 local teams in the semifinals.
Yeah. And now I didn't see the final results, but Oakland and
Blackman. Yeah, and Oakland jumped out to an early lead and held on, and they'll be going for, I think, their 6th state championship in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
So,
well, we live right across from Siegel High School, so we were able to get to know some of the coaches there and bring over. You know, one of the things that I continue to do, Dick, is write, and I brought along a couple of books, and you've seen the other book, sports-related book, What's Your Racket, which was for tennis players. Right. And then I've done the book, Winning a Head Game, which is entitled Winning a Head Game, Key to Athletic Success. I wrote in conjunction with a great Tennessee native, Sonny Smith, from Rome Mountain, Tennessee.
That's correct.
And Sonny, obviously, a great coach in the Hall of Fame, both here in Tennessee and in Alabama, and a wonderful person. And but Sonny's not doing really great right now with health, and so we have a little concern and ask prayers for him, okay?
I saw him coach at East Tennessee State when they would come into Murfreesboro to play Middle Tennessee. We were in the same conference at the time, and then watched his Auburn teams for a long time when they would televise games there, and quite a couple. We'll get to some Sonny Smith stories a little bit later.
Okay.
I want to find out more. You mentioned that you signed with the St. Louis Cardinals out of high school. And tell me about how all that came about.
Well, I fortunately played on a Babe Ruth team in Pensacola, Florida. We didn't have a team in Atmore, so I was able to go to Pensacola to play Babe Ruth, and we won the Babe Ruth World Series in '57. So, and I was the most valuable player, and it ended up, obviously scouts started following it. A pitcher, left-handed pitcher. That's correct. Actually, I'll tell you what, I did pretty good swinging the bat that year. I hit .511 for the then when I signed, I went, my first stop was Whitfield, Virginia, in the rookie league. And I was there only a couple of weeks. I was the opening night pitcher, won 2 games there, and hit 900, a little over 900, Dick. And I like to tell everyone that, but I only went to bat 11 times. But I had 10 hits, and then they sent me to Billings, Montana.
So you were a two-way player.
I was in the beginning, yes. And actually, one year, I believe it was my second or third year in pro ball, I hit 12 home runs, which is a pretty good rate for a pitcher. But the decision was made. I guess I was very blessed in the fact I only spent up 1 full year in the lower minor leagues. Then I got to AA at 19 years of age, and then to Atlanta with a AAA team before the Braves came, the old Atlanta Crackers.
And they were a farm club of the Cardinals?
Yeah, they were in the AAA, yes.
Yeah.
In AA, they were not. The old Southern League with Birmingham and Nashville and Memphis, those stops. Well, then basically I went to Tulsa, then to Atlanta, and then bounced around. I had a little arm problem, but I came back in '64 and had a great year. I was a minor league pitcher of the year, and ended up being traded from the Cardinals to the Yankees. And the reason for that, Dick, in those days, you had a rule where you couldn't be brought up and down more than 3 times, or you had to go through waivers.
Right.
So I was frozen, And the Cardinals traded me to the Yankees, and I go to the Yankees. I tell everyone they won the pennant the year before in '64. The Cardinals beat them in the World Series.
Right.
So
Johnny Keane
went from manager of the Cardinals to the manager of the Yankees, and but I went to the Yankees in '65. And Dick, I just want to share this. I have a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel I did a segment about Mickey Mantle, what Mantle told me when I came to the Yankees. He happened to dress right across from me in spring training, and obviously he did. I don't know if he ever learned my name, but he always called me Kid.
So how long had he been up at that time?
Well, you're talking about that was his 15th year in the big leagues. He went to the big leagues in '50, if I'm not mistaken. And then, we're talking 65, the spring of 65. He actually played through 66. Dick, you got to have admiration for a guy like that. He would wrap his legs every day from the top of his groin area all the way to his ankles. Every day. He wrapped them personally himself.
He played in pain.
He played in pain. And he lost his dad at an early age because of bone. I can't pronounce that long word, but I can tell you that it relates to the bone structure.
Yeah.
And just interesting, a very interesting spring. I got to, the year before, I had been in spring training with the Cardinals, and Marilyn Monroe, if you may not remember this, but both the Cardinals and the Yankees had their spring training in St. Petersburg.
Right.
The Yankees were out at the beach, and we were downtown at the Vinoy Hotel. So basically what happened after that, and it's always an interesting concept, is that when Mr. Bush bought the team, my last year with the Cardinals, it was Musial's last year.
Okay.
And so Mr. Bush decided, because the black players at that time, Bill White, Kurt Flood, Hula, and Javier, had to stay in private homes. They couldn't stay at the hotel where we stayed.
Right.
Mr. Bush settled that by just buying a motel and putting everybody together.
Took care of that problem.
Which really is unusual in a sense, but he and everybody was together as a result of that.
So did you have hopes of making the big club coming out of spring training?
Well, I did, and I really was always such a slow starter, Dick. I even when I was a starting pitcher, I started for the first 3 years, and I think in 3 years I won like 39 games or so, 15 and 14 wins the first 2 years, and then I got a letter in the winter and says, we'd like you to be considered as a left-handed reliever, and so then I went the other route.
And this was actually before relievers became such a specialized job.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals were kind of getting ahead of the game because they could see that you were going to go more and more in that direction to have where you had people to come in after the 6th or 7th inning. Dick, my first full year, I had 19 complete games. Now today, if they get 3 or 4, it's used. So I threw a lot of pitches early. I did 352 innings my first year, full year, as an 18-year-old.
Wow.
They wouldn't do that today. They safeguard their pitchers much different. It's much different than it was.
Is the game ever going to get back to where pitchers go out there and pitch 9 innings?
No.
I don't think so.
It's not. And, now they get these kids that are hard throwers that can throw 95 to 100 miles an hour, put them out there for an inning or so. And I think as long as baseball has dramatically changed in my book. And
so what did you hit on the radar gun?
Probably 85. Actually, I always kid everybody. My best pitch was an atom ball. I would pitch and hope to hit at atoms.
Well, Maddox didn't throw much harder than that.
No,
he's in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. And Maddox is the only guy that probably ever had a 20-inch plate. The plate's 17 inches across, but he'd always get 1.5 inches inside, 1.5 inches outside because he was consistently throwing there.
Right.
And that's really the way I pitched. It was rare that I'd strike out a bunch of guys. how we doing with time? I got to share a story with you.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes left on this segment.
Let me share this story. I came out of high school. My glasses were about a quarter of an inch thick. I wore big old, I'm almost legally blind.
You're not wearing glasses now?
No, I still wear contacts.
Oh,
Cataract surgery helped repair one.
Right. Well,
at any rate, I decided the middle of the season, my first full season, I'm about a 500 pitcher. I made the decision I was going to go to contacts because, perspiration and everything all over glasses. So I went, and they were big as a quarter and glass. And you had to really work to put the sucker in.
Right.
So I made that decision. I come back, start the first game after we had the All-Star break. First game, I pitched against Boise, Idaho. They had seen me twice with those big, thick glasses on. And my catcher kept telling everybody when it come to plate, says, "You know what? That stupid left-hander left his glasses at the hotel." Dick, I struck out 13 guys. I wouldn't strike out 13 guys in a month.
They were afraid to dig in on you.
They sure were. But every now and then, Charlie Jennings, the catcher, would give me a thumbs up. And that was mean to throw it against the screen. So I threw the first pitch against the screen, and every now and then I'd heave one up against the screen.
Ryan Duran used to pull that trick, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, you're talking about wearing thick glasses. Ryan was technically legally blind.
Yeah.
But he could bring it up there.
Yes, he could. We're talking with Lou Vickery, former professional baseball player, among many other things. And we're going to talk about some of those other things coming up on our next segment. I hope you'll stay with us. We're going to take a break, and All Sports Talk will continue right after this.
Every team knows which play can be a winning move. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Womack, here to help life go right by combining your home and auto insurance. Call me today at 615-890-0850. It's a winning move that saves you time and money. Your ride, your stuff. You live with them together. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Womack. It's smart to protect them together, to help life go right. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me help you save by combining your auto and renters.
Whether you need general vehicle upkeep and maintenance or a complete vehicle overhaul, Hall's Auto Care is here for you. We're locally owned and operated by Greg Hall and have been in business since 2014. You'll get excellent service and trustworthy advice with Hall's Auto Care. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. We're ready to help get you safely on the road. Hall's Auto Care, 907 Ridgely Road, just off Broad Street behind Chili's. Online at hallsautocare.net. Hall's Auto Care.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Clark's has a team of experienced auctioneers and realtors who make selling your property simple. Whether you're selling your home, farm, or have an estate to settle, auctions are easy, fast, and profitable. You don't have to worry about the hassle of updates, repairs, or showings, and you'll receive multiple offers on auction day.
Clark's Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Clark's Auction Company, committed to auction excellence.
Sold it to you, 27.5.
Here's Dr. Craig McCabe at McCabe Vision Center.
The most common cause of sudden, acute, painless vision loss is a stroke to the eyes, and that can involve either an artery or a vein. People that have suffered through this will tell you that it didn't hurt.
He's the eye doctor you hear on the radio.
My father went to him before I did, and we liked him very much.
McCabe Vision Center on Heritage Park Drive, just off Memorial, behind SunTrust Bank.
Hey, this is Trevor from Bell Jewelers, inviting you to come shop with us. And if you haven't noticed, gold and silver has gone through the roof this year. To save you money, bring in your gold and silver from home so we can use that to make your special piece. Or we can trade it in. Trust, it's very important in this business. Bell Jewelers has been the store that people trust since 1879. Come see us at Bell Jewelers. Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots.
Good afternoon. Still a little bit slow. 24 West, just past the Jolton exit. I know they had some pothole repairs up through there earlier. Extra time towards Clarksville. Still a little bit slow as people rubberneck from an earlier wreck. 65 South at Concord Road here in the Brentwood, Williamson County area. We're looking at that live right now. It's still a little bit heavy down through that section of town. It's picked up even more with volume. 40 East out past Donaldson Pike. STR Towing and Recovery says give them a call here in Middle Tennessee 24/7 if you need their help. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
It's all sports talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, WGNSradio.com, and Big G TV.
Welcome back into All Sports Talk. My guest is Lou Vickery. He was living in Murfreesboro now, native of Alabama, played professional baseball in both the Cardinals and the Yankees organizations. And when did you really decide that your baseball career was coming to an end?
Well, it came rather abruptly. Go from everything being good to you partially tore my rotator cuff.
Uh-oh.
And in those days, Dick, there was no surgery.
No Tommy John surgery.
No Tommy John surgery. Nothing to do with surgery to repair a tear. And so I rested virtually a full year, came back, and I couldn't break a window pane before. I was really in trouble then. So basically, my career, I spent 9 years as a player and 1 year as a coach. I coached a year with the Cincinnati Reds in the rookie league as a pitching coach. But that wasn't my cup of tea. I just wasn't quite that. It didn't excite me like you need to have the excitement, the coaching part.
So you went home and I understand went back to school.
I did. Went to Troy. Troy in this part of the world.
I've done games in Troy, yes.
Yeah. So I went to Troy. I had been going to Troy in the off season. And so basically I went back to finish, got my degree, and then decided that wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But the university, I'd been there so long, I was like an institution there. I was 10 years, okay? So the president, Dr. Adams, offered me a position and handling federal funds. So I did that for a year, but that wasn't my cup of tea.
Coach a little baseball on the side?
Yeah, I did. I coached the baseball team. The baseball team had a football coach as the baseball coach. He didn't know a thing about it, so he just turned the team over to me and says, "You coach." And so I got paid a stipend to coach, and I did that.
That happened a lot during those early days, and it's not so anymore.
No.
You're a good college coach. You're going to get hired by the San Francisco Giants.
How about that? I thought that was really a great step on the Giants part, San Francisco Giants.
Right.
As I guarantee you, I think Tony will do a great job there. I really do.
College teams back then played, 25, 30 games a year, if they were lucky.
Yeah, now it's 60 or so, isn't it?
Right. And then the College World Series is one of the biggest events of the sports calendar, and just draws tremendous interest. Tons of people go there, and if they can't go, they watch it on television. So, all right, baseball. After you finished at Troy, and what did you do? Decide that you wanted to do something else?
Well, I actually coached a year at high school there in Troy. My wife at the time had a job. She was assistant librarian, and so we decided to stay there. I loved coaching, but Dick, I couldn't make enough money doing it. I had been accustomed to making more money. So I went back to New York and became a stockbroker with Merrill Lynch. And I did that for 4 years. I actually went to Texas to sell the bonds on the new airport they were building there. And I remember us going across this field in an old bus. They were riding us in, bouncing all the, how a cornfield would be. And that was where they built the airport, and I thought that was interesting. A little side note, there are four of us from Merrill that went from New York to Dallas to help sell the bonds, and we formed civilian teams. And the leader of my civilian team was a guy named Ross Perot. So it was very interesting.
I've read his book.
And we called him the Little General. But as we outsold, our one team outsold the other three.
And that would have been about what year?
Around 70, 71.
And what is that? Which airport is it?
Yes, the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport now.
Okay.
The big one.
You know, I think when I was traveling in the ABA with Memphis, I think we went through that airport the first day it opened.
Yeah.
And everybody was confused about the rail system.
Right down below.
We had to put a coin in to get in the rail system, and that just completely blew everybody's mind. So
it was different. That was for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I just stayed. The office manager of the local Merrill Lynch. Well, I had several there, but the one downtown, he was a former football player and had only athletes in his office.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he offered me a position. I stayed in Dallas, and then I did that 4 or 5 years. I really enjoyed it when I was able to get out and prospect and looking for, and the market was terrible. I'd go to places, what are you doing here? Why don't you know what the market is? But me, what the heck? I've been yelled at in front of 40,000 people, so I wasn't going to make a lot of difference there.
So how did you get into the area of motivational speaking and writing books and all of this that you do?
Well, that was the next step. I answered an ad in the Wall Street Journal about looking for someone to train. And I found out, one of the things I found out at Merrill was when I'd go out and speak to groups, I did pretty good on my feet.
Yeah.
So I answered the ad, got the job, and spent the next 29 years traveling all over the country.
You know, there was a fertilizer salesman in Mississippi that found out the same thing. His name was Jerry Clower.
Let me share one quick story. We were at the 83 basketball tournament in New Orleans, North Carolina, and Georgetown, I believe, were playing. And interesting enough, we were riding down we had a limo, and we're riding down the street, and there's Clower walking towards the stadium. Come on, Jerry, get in. And
you couldn't miss him, could you?
Couldn't miss him. And he knew, one of the guys in the limo knew him personally, so he crawls there with us. I tell you what, in a 15 to 20-minute ride it took us to get there. I laughed so hard, Dick. These muscles, you know how the muscles right up here, they cramped. So.
When I moved back to this area from Memphis, friend of mine and I hosted a sports talk show in Nashville, and we had Jerry Clower on for a solid hour one night. And I'll never forget that. I've got a tape of that somewhere. But anyway.
And then let me. When I was in Atlanta, you know, the only place you can go after a ball game if you want to get something to eat is a bar.
Right.
Well, I didn't necessarily want to go to bars, so I got in the habit of getting me some food, putting it in my locker, and I had something to eat after, and I'd go back to my room. And, well, I needed something to do, so I started writing. And that was in 1962. And I started making notes. And I had this little tin box I'd put them in, and I'd put them in. And I did that for years. I'd write and put them in notes. But I remember.
And how long did they stay there before you uncovered them and brought them to life?
Isn't that amazing? It took me 18 years.
Wow. From
the first notes I made to producing my first book. And that was in 1980. And since then, Dick, I think we're in book number 27. And in a variety of things. Something just kind of strikes me, and I feel like, well, you know, maybe I've had some exposure doing that. Let's write a book about it. So one of my favorites is called Winning the Head Game, Key to Athletic Success. I wrote with Coach Sonny Smith.
Right.
And Sonny, obviously a Tennessee native, as I mentioned earlier. And so that one has done exceedingly well. And the new book I brought along is called Coach Says. Now, that one, I've got a whole list of relatives that have contributed to that. And the reason for that, Dick, those relatives have produced over 20 state championships.
Wow.
So they know a little something about motivation.
They are worth listening to.
That's right. And so this a little motivational, inspirational book called Coach Says, and my books are at Amazon. I have a website, a wiseword.com.
Okay.
And you can read about the books that are still in print. I think there are 12 still in print, but they're all available at Amazon.
You mentioned something about a YouTube thing.
Yeah. Yes, that youtube.com/a wise word. A wise word is my brand, so to speak. And
okay.
I am noted, for better or for worse, as the voice of generational wisdom. So that's what happened. I've been in the workplace 67 years.
Which do you enjoy more? Standing up and giving a motivational talk to a group of people, or actually sitting down and putting things on paper and working on a book?
I enjoy both of them. And I welcome the opportunity to speak to groups. I tell you this, I do a lot of Zoom stuff, but I'm not a big fan. I love to see people. I love to be able to look them eyeball to eyeball when you talk.
Well, I know that you've spoken to people, crowds of probably the hundreds or better, and you came to our civic club, our Optimist Club, and spoke to about 12 people. But I assume that you put everything into that just like you would speaking to 100 or 500 people.
My theory is that if you speak to one person and if you make one little bit of difference in their life, it was worth it.
Let's talk about when you were a radio show host.
Oh, man.
So
we went from...
You're accustomed to be asking the questions and not answering them.
Well, I had some great guests. I had everybody from Dick Cheney. Now, wasn't just about sports. It was everything.
General.
Yeah, general. And I had a lot of politicians. Now, Dick, I got to share my definition. I tell every one of them, now listen, before we do this interview, you need to know my definition of politics. Poly means many and ticks means bloodsuckers. But Jeff Sessions, who, was a senator from Alabama at the time, and then became Trump's attorney general, I was the only radio show he'd do an interview for. And we did consistent with him, but he knew that I was going to laugh and we were going to have a good time. And I think that's the thing that we miss so much of, Dick, is just having a good, humorous opportunity to have what I call a belly laugh.
All right, we're having a good time this morning with Lou Vickery. And Lou, we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. I want to hear some Sonny Smith stories.
Well, I tell you what, I love to. Coach Smith has been a blessing to my life, and we've known each other. We first met in 1998, and he had just moved to Birmingham, and I was in Birmingham at the time, and he came to the tennis court. I love to play tennis. Still playing 3 or 4 days a week. We've met some wonderful guys here in Murfreesboro that we play with, and I'm so thankful for that. But Sonny and I met on the tennis court, and we became partners in a sense. We play together. We're looking for people to play, and I loved him because he was so tall, and, he's got a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah.
So, it was tough to get a ball over him. You couldn't lob it. And so he was great to play with. But I got to share with him, when he missed it, he wasn't playing very well. He says, "Smith, you couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie." All those old Gene Autry and Roy Rogers shows. And then his favorite line was, "Get it, Lou, get it, Lou." So,
Is he in this book,
yeah.
Coach says?
Yeah.
You couldn't write a book without
we
that.
got some quotes of him in that book. Yeah, I tell you what, one of the things that just made a lot of sense to me, he'd always talk about the 2 things you need on a good team and in a good business. You need balance and harmony.
Whether in athletics or anything.
Yeah, same principle. And we're in a process of converting Coach Says to a business-related book, taking the same principles.
Yeah.
There's nowhere where life ends and sports begins, or sports ends and life begins. The principles are the same. May I share this real quickly? I hope we got time to do it.
No doubt about that. So this talk show you did lasted, 15 years?
Almost 15 years,
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I started on a little AM station and was able to graduate to bigger things, but had really a great show. I would do a lot of guests. It was all guest-driven from all variety, and I've made a lot of wonderful friends around the country. One of my favorites is a guy in Colorado, Bob Beaupre. Bob's was a member of he was in the House of Representatives, and he owns a buffalo ranch. So I go up with him, and it's quite an experience. Really.
Did you do a lot of these live, or were most of them telephone interviews?
Telephone, yeah. I did very little live. I'd occasionally go out just do something different.
Right.
Well,
listen, we appreciate you going out today and visiting with us. And, we could probably go for another half hour or so. But we've got another segment coming up. So appreciate you coming up. And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Thank you, Dick. And again, all my work is at Amazon. You can just Lou Vickery, just Google it and see what happens.
I checked it out this morning.
All right.
It's there. So our final segment coming up, I'll be talking with Brian Barrett. We'll be talking about the TSSAA football championships coming up this week. That'll be right after this. All Sports Talk.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball, presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball, benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home has served Murfreesboro families with compassion and care since 1880. As a family-owned funeral home, we're committed to honoring every life with dignity through traditional services, cremation options, and pre-planning that gives you peace of mind. For over 140 years, we've been here when it matters most. Visit JenningsandAyers.com. Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home, honoring life and comforting families since 1880.
Roscoe Brown is this area's leading provider of home indoor air quality products and services. Back in 1940, Roscoe Brown started this family business with a goal of treating customers like family. Over 80 years later, that commitment continues. If you're new to town, ask Roscoe Brown to do a checkup on your HVAC and plumbing systems. It'll make a difference. Call Roscoe Brown and schedule a checkup today.
Roscoe Brown. RoscoeBrown.com. This is Peter Demas, and our family is inviting your family to come eat with us at Demas's restaurant. We're trying to give them a place where they can eat with their family that's not fast food. We want to create an atmosphere where we can sit down and just have a good old-fashioned family dinner. But unfortunately now, most people can't do it at home. So, two people are working, the kids' activities, and so what we're doing is we provide that, and we make it affordable. Come eat with us at Demas's restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
Next on All Sports Talk, it's the Blue Raider Insider Report with Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Middle Tennessee basketball paid homage to many former Blue Raiders on Legends Weekend and did it in style with a 78-66 win over the Delaware Blue Hens. And it was a day that included the 2016 team that defeated Michigan State in the NCAA tournament, all of whom were introduced to the Murphy Center crowd at halftime. Middle grabbed an early 17-11 lead and never fell behind again. The Blue Raiders led by 11 at halftime, pushed it out and won it by 12 in the second half. The Blue Raiders got a much-needed win on Game 1 of a 3-game homestand. And also during that halftime ceremony, it was learned that former Blue Raider head coach Kermit Davis is going to be in the class of 2026 for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Emmy Fazenbaker had a chance to catch up with the coach right after the announcement.
All right, Coach, I know it was probably a surprise for you that it was announced that you're going to be joining the class of 2026 for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. What does this moment mean to you?
Oh, it's an unbelievable honor. The state of Tennessee and Murfreesboro has meant so much to myself and our family. You know, when you accept something like this, you accept it on behalf of all the unbelievable players that we had here throughout the year, the great, great coaches, support. Couldn't have done it without an unbelievable supportive president, Dr. McPhee, 2 outstanding ADs, Coach Donnelly and Chris Massaro. So just a great deal of gratitude. Betty and I are so excited, look forward to coming back to the ceremony.
Well, it's already been a special weekend for you as well, celebrating and honoring 10 years ago, that historic moment beating Michigan State. So what has it also meant to you to be surrounded by so many people you love?
Yeah, we have so many fans, and this is where we'd come back to live. But I've got both parents are still living. I got my 3.5-year-old grandson 45 minutes away, so we'll be in Mississippi. But it always, of all the places we ever coached, this is the most special. We raised our girls here, you know, so we have a great memories to bring back the team. I wish, all of our players could have come, and coaches. They're still throughout the country and the world playing basketball and coaching. So hopefully maybe in years to come we'll get them all back together at one time. But a special career here, and obviously a special year, and then just that game that everything aligned perfect, and great for Middle Tennessee State University.
Well, thank you so much, Coach.
Thanks, Emmy.
On the flip side, the Lady Raiders endured a loss to Western Kentucky 70-65 on Saturday. From the outset, Middle Tennessee struggled to gain momentum, trailing 9-6 after the first quarter. Western seized control in the second, delivering a strong 21-point effort and led by 11 at halftime. They widened the gap to as much as 20 in the third quarter, leading 55-38 going into the fourth period. But the Blue Raiders outscored Western 27-15 in the fourth quarter, but it was not enough as the Lady Raiders dropped the matchup to Western Kentucky. And following her breakout performance against Western, Middle Tennessee freshman guard Macy Pfeiffer has been named the Conference USA Freshman of the Week. That was announced by the league office on Monday afternoon. The native of New Albany, Mississippi, earned the honor after turning in one of the best games of her career. The rookie poured in a career-high 21 points, leading all freshmen while adding 6 rebounds, an assist, and a block. She was efficient at the free throw line, knocking down 6 of 8, and played a key role on both ends of the floor. It marks her 3rd Freshman of the Week honor of the season and the program's 11th Freshman of the Week award this year, tying the Conference USA record for the most Freshman of the Week, coming in from Rice in 2011 and Louisiana Tech in 2024. In men's tennis, the Blue Raiders capped off a dominant showing in the Battle of the Borough on Sunday, defeating Rice 4-1 to secure a weekend sweep out at the Adams Tennis Complex. Checking in on baseball, Middle Tennessee, now 5-2, rode 2 dominant pitching performances to a 7-0 win over St. Bonaventure, taking